Welcome back, global people. Another culture moment. Remember, we talked about tips how to better communicate with North Americans. Here's the second set of 3. Be prepared for the uniqueness of American English. If you went through a school system like I did abroad, I grew up in Germany, so my education of learning English was based on British English, and a lot of school systems around the world still teach English as a second language based on British English, the Queen's English, Oxford English. My teachers miserably failed in instilling that in me. It's also because I was an exchange student in the United States as a teenager. So be prepared when you interact with Americans that the English you learned in school or in college or wherever you learned it may not be the same English that you will use with people in the United States. That could be spelling, that could be vocabulary. There's many of those quote-unquote false friends. It's the truck and the lorry and the elevator and the lift and the trunk and the boot and whatnot. There's dozens, if not hundreds of examples where British English uses different words than American English, and some may even be offensive on the other side of the Atlantic. So be cautiously aware of the fact that the two Englishes don't necessarily gel, or as George Bernard Shaw said, England and the United States, 2 countries separated by a common language. Also, number 5, be prepared for interruptions. In the US, it's perfectly okay to talk over each other to a certain degree, not as much as it would be, for instance, in Mediterranean cultures, but it's not often that there is moments of silence when people talk amongst each other. So for US people, it's often an invitation to take their turn of speaking, and sometimes those turns overlap, or people have a quick thought on something that you're saying and they will jump on that. In some cultures this may be impolite or inappropriate. In US culture that can be the norm, so be prepared for interruptions. To remember the first edition of this program, cutting to the chase, right? That could happen very much. And also be cautious how confrontational you want to be. The US is not one homogeneous culture like so many other countries around the world. There's different regions with different behavioral preferences. In some regions in the United States, it's okay to be a little bit combative or a little more argumentative and being super direct and sometimes even blunt. Those areas would be the Northeast, New England, Boston, New York area, even the coastal areas of the West. Not so much in the South. So from Texas to the Carolinas, or from Kentucky to the northern half of Florida, be really careful how confrontational you want to be. It may actually be seen as a breach of trust or impoliteness or just being rude. So be careful and know who you're dealing with. You might deal with a person from Michigan down in Alabama, and they are perfectly fine with confrontationalism. But if you're dealing with somebody from southern Georgia and you work in San Francisco, please be a little more careful how direct you want to be. So these were 4, 5, and 6, and the final 3 on the next episode.